Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Aylin, and today we are going to be doing a book unhaul. So I've done a couple of these on my channel, and to just blanket the disclaimer right out of the gate, if you love these books, me getting rid of them is not meant to be an attack. I don't think that you're a terrible human being. I just recently counted how many books I own, and the ratio of books read versus unread on my shelves. And to say that it was embarrassing and humiliating would be an understatement. So I decided to clear off some books. I also was looking at these books and they weren't inspiring. Okay. And when I saw these books on my shelves, they didn't inspire much of anything. And honestly, I just felt guilty for having them. So we have a bunch of books here. I think there's like 30 or 40 books. Maybe there's only 20. I don't know. A lot of them are series that I bought either because of the hype or when I was younger and just getting into reading and I didn't really know what my tastes were. So yeah, we're getting rid of a lot. It's gonna be interesting. So the first one is a very well-renowned series that I am getting rid of, and that is the Shatter Me series by Tahara Mafi. I just don't have any interest in these. I started this one a really long time ago. I think like 2 or 3 years ago, and I got 90 pages in and I still just don't have any urge to continue the series at all. I know so many people love this series and I love that for them. I just think that I missed the train on being able to enjoy this series. I don't think it's something that I'll super enjoy. Yeah, I don't know. I just, there's no draw here. So I'm going to, I think, list these on Pango Books. Hopefully I'll have that listed in the description below so you guys can check that out. So I have Shatter Me, Unravel Me, Unite Me, which is a bind up of Destroy Me and Fracture Me, the 2 novellas, and Ignite Me. So these are gonna go. I've had them on my shelf for like 3-4 years and haven't picked them up. Then I have a Fairy Loot Special Edition that I honestly only kept because it was a Fairy Loot Special Edition, but even if I want this book in the future, I honestly like the original cover more than this one. So it's beautiful and hopefully somebody else will really enjoy it. I love the little embossing here, but it is Woven in Moonlight by Isabel Ibanez. I've heard good things. I just haven't been reading a ton of young adult fantasy, and the amount that I have on my shelf is pretty overwhelming, honestly. So I might pick this up on audiobook in the future, but this isn't anything that super calls to me, so I'm gonna give it away. And it's a special edition, so hopefully someone is like looking for it and really wants it and will love it. It's beautiful. All these books are in pretty good condition, but I honestly feel selfish for like keeping it when I know I'm probably not gonna read it. Then we have another series, and that is Looking Glass Wars series. So it's by Frank Better. I got this when I was in high school, but it's an Alice in Wonderland retelling. And I'm just not going to read it. So we have the Looking Glass Wars, Seeing Red, and Arch Enemy. Like I said, just not going to read it. I don't super love retellings anymore. I definitely prefer very loose retellings, and this was good from what I remember, but like I said, it's just not something that I want to read. Sorry, I'm trying to take these tabs out. I should pay attention. They're just a bunch of new books and series that I'm much more interested in than these, so unfortunately I'm gonna have to rehome them. Then we have another series. Oh my goodness. So this is the Grave Mercy, His Fair Assassins series. So we have Grave Mercy, Dark Triumph, and Mortal Heart. This is about nun assassins, I think set in like Scotland or something. I don't know, but it's historical fiction. That's not really my thing. These are huge freaking books, and it's a very intriguing concept, but I just don't think I'm going to read them. So again, off they go. Plus these are the original covers, so hopefully again somebody will enjoy finding that. Then we have The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman. This is the first book in the His Dark Materials series. I got this because my oldest brother recommended it to me, but it's like a young adult like early young adult, later middle grade series, and I just don't think I'm gonna read it. I don't love wintry fantasy for some reason. I think because I live somewhere where it is legitimately winter for like 5-6 months out of the year. I don't want to escape to somewhere that is very similar to the cold that I live in. So then we have the most random book ever, and that is Love Struck by Kate Watson. I picked it up because it had a pretty cover and it sounded interesting. It's about a 16-year-old girl who is a Cupid in training. So it's a Greek like mythology, not retelling, but I don't know, something. I like started it and it was okay, but it's not anything that I wanted to really continue on with. It feels like it would be a little bit young for me now anyway. I got it because it was something that I had never heard of before, and I was kind of looking for that because whenever I go into a bookstore, I'm pretty familiar with 90% of the books that are on the shelf, and I've come to terms with the fact that that is not a bad thing. It is rare that I see something that is not super well known, and that's great, but I shouldn't just buy those books because I've never heard of them. I should do a little bit more research. So this is gonna go. Then I have All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. This is a historical fiction. It's World War II historical fiction. I love learning about World War II. It is one of my favorite time periods to learn about. I actually took a class in high school dedicated to the Holocaust and just learning about all of the smaller things that happened on the side that were obviously still so impactful and awful that you don't really hear about. But I am not a historical fiction girl, especially when it's like a very real backdrop. And at this point in my life, I definitely prefer books for escapism. It's obviously great to learn things, but just don't see myself reading this. I've had it for a super long time. I know it's a wonderful book based on the things that I've heard. I've literally never heard a bad thing about this. I don't think it's something that I want to read anymore, so adios. Then we actually have a couple Christina Lauren books. So we have Roomies and Twice in a Blue Moon. I kept these because I had read them, and I do tend to love Christina Lauren books. However, this one was a 3-star. I'm never going to reread it. It's a pretty cover, but nothing that I'm like ogling at when it's on my shelves. So I don't think that's a reason to keep it when there are so many other books that I do want to own that I have loved with more pretty covers, in my opinion. Not that this is bad, but I just feel like if I didn't love this and it doesn't hold any crazy sentimental value, I shouldn't be holding on to it just because I've read it. And then with this one, I hated this book, and the only reason I was keeping it was because I thought that the cover was really pretty. But I don't like this book, literally at all. I will never reread it. This book made me so freaking angry. So again, it having a pretty cover is not enough for it to stay on my shelves when there are so many other books that I do want to read or that I have read and I want to keep and display that I'll love so much more. So then we have a good amount of young adult fantasy because, like I said, I don't really read that much young adult fantasy anymore, or just young adult in general. So the first couple are actually contemporary. We have Lucky Caller by Emma Mills. I got this because everybody said it was wonderful and it had a podcast element. I tried to read it and I just don't think that I jive with Emma Mills' writing style, and again, this was one that I was keeping because the cover is absolutely gorgeous, and that was reason enough for me to keep it for quite a while, but not anymore. Then we have Brave Enough by Katie Gardner, which is a book that I did actually really enjoy, but I don't foresee myself rereading, so I want to give it away to someone that will hopefully benefit more from it. This one, content warning for cancer and addiction. It's about a couple of teenagers. One of them is undergoing cancer. She was a dancer, and because of an injury that she sustained due to her illness, she probably doesn't have a great future in that anymore, and she's coming to terms with that. And then our hero, it's a romance in the book, is a recovering drug addict, I believe. He's been sober for 7 months and kind of having a hard time staying sober. It was a good book. I enjoyed it, but I don't foresee myself picking up the sequel, nor do I foresee myself rereading this. So again, beautiful cover, but not enough reason to keep it. Then we have Kiss Me in New York by Catherine Ryder. This is a holiday romance that I read on New Year's Eve, which was very fun, but it was just okay. I think this was like a Wattpad story, and I wanted to read it because I wanted a holiday romance, and this one was short, so I picked it up, but I, again, don't foresee myself rereading it. It wasn't very memorable for me. It was just okay. Then I have another Fairy Loot exclusive edition, and that is Eight Will Fall by Sarah Harrion. This is, I think, like a sci-fi fantasy, and again, I had never heard anything about this. I don't foresee myself picking this up, and honestly, I like the original cover more, again, which is so rare because I feel like all the books that I don't get in Fairy Loot boxes, I'm like, oh, that cover is stunning, I want that edition. And then the books that I got when I was subscribed to Fairy Loot, I was like, meh, they're okay. If I do ever pick this one up in the future, I want the original cover. Then I have kind of an impulse buy, and that is Daughter of the Burning City by Amanda Foody. I picked this up because I had recently read Caraval, I believe, and I was just obsessed with books that took place at like a magical carnival, which is what the backdrop of this one is. I think it's about a girl who like is blind, or she can't see, or when she does close her eyes she sees spirits or something like that. I don't fully remember. I don't foresee myself reading this. I've been filming all day and he is not happy with me. Hi. I'll be in our room in a second, okay? And then we can lay down. I promise. Anyway, I'm not going to read this. There are some Amanda Foody books that I do want to read, but this is just not one of them. Although it is so, so beautiful, and like, this is super cool. All right, no, I'm not reading it. I'm not keeping it. Then we have one that I did hold on to for sentimental value, but that sentimental value has faded over time, and that is Because You Love to Hate Me by... It's an anthology, which I don't really read. I didn't know that at the time, that I wouldn't enjoy them. I think this is one of the first anthologies that I had ever picked up. It's edited by Anne-Marie, and this was super cool because booktubers got to be a part of it and give different authors prompts to write a story. I remember reading Susan Dennard's and loving it. I read a couple others, I think, but I don't like anthologies. I've learned that over time. I haven't picked any up since, so I've learned my lesson, which is good. Then we have 3 more young adult fantasies. So I have Winterwood by Shay Earnshaw. I picked it up because it was a new release and it was on sale. Not gonna read it. I haven't heard great things about it anyway. Hunted by Megan Spooner. I've literally had this since I was a junior in high school and I haven't read it. Plus, like I've been saying, I don't love retellings, so no thank you. And then 3 Dark Crowns by Kendra Blake. This series is complete and I just don't have any desire to continue on with it. I picked it up because of the hype and I just don't think I'm going to read it, if I'm being honest. I know people love those series and some of those books, but just not for me. Then we have The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. This one is like a Russian folktale story, and I don't think that I love wintry fantasy books, generally speaking, and I just don't think I'm gonna like this one based off of things that I've heard about it. Not that I've heard terrible things, but even the things that I've heard from people who love this book, I don't think I will enjoy it. Then lastly, we have Gideon the Ninth by Tasman Moore. This is the one book that has like troubled me, kept me up at night on whether or not I should keep it. I don't really read sci-fi, and I have owned this book since it came out. It's the first edition, but I know it's like sapphic and space pirates, maybe like necromancers, sapphic necromancers, maybe set in space. I don't know. This one is the only one that's a maybe. The other ones are definitely going, but I don't read tons of sci-fi in general, so let me know if you guys think I would like that one or if I should keep it. But those are all of the books that I'm going to be unhauling. Hopefully I'll have them up on Pango. I'm typically really bad about that, but I'm gonna try to do it this time and follow through. It's a pretty random selection of books. There's a lot of series, so I'll probably group the series together, but if you want one off, that's totally fine and we can make that work. Or maybe I'll put them all as one off, and if you want to group it, that probably makes more sense. Either way, that's it for this video. I don't hate you if you loved any of these books. I'm not trying to offend you or hurt your feelings if some of these are your favorite books. They're just not my taste, and that's totally okay. I don't understand the people who get upset when people are unhauling books. It's not personal at all. But I love you all so much. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you're doing well, reading, mentally, and otherwise. And I really hope to see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.